Muddy water cascades through the hatch cover left open by Al into the command center, covering the floor and cables that power the display gear. One by one, the video panels spark and go dark. Now, all is dark except for the gray orb of the hard raining sky at the top of the ladder. I climb toward the light, into the downpour. At the rim, I look back into the water-filling darkness. I leave Motel 6 and head toward downtown. Having hit up everyone I can think of for a loan for my escape, I'm at the end of my rope. I wander aimlessly among the crowd celebrating Hammerman's poll-election in the streets of the urban center. On Envision, a news thing says, "They said a war game action hero could never be president, but with the surge of the dud vote behind him, his victory was a landslide." Hammerman exults as he's transported on the hands of his admirers above the heads of the cheering multitude. A news thing interviews the president-elect's admirers. A young woman in pigtails says, "I'm just so happy. I can't tell you how happy I am." A man wearing a Donald Duck hat says, "You know, there's no telling what a guy like him is going to do." Panoramas of fireworks in distant cities lights up my Envision. A man next to me sets fire to a fast food wrapper and tosses it into a trash can. A flicker becomes a blaze. A crowd dances around the bonfire chanting, "Hammerman! Hammerman!" I'm caught up in the momentum of the crowd. As more people join the line dance, the infectious rhythm segues into Patco Pango. The chanting quickens to "Hammerman, bad dude! Hammerman, bad dude!" A fusion of Maori, Berber, and cha-cha syncopation charges the crowd as they dance ever more furiously in the steamy firelight. Down the block, another fire is lit, then another. A line of fires illuminates the skyline. People wave madly from windows in the upper floors of buildings as the flames creep up the walls. People in the street below wave back at them. We're packed so tightly we can only go forward. High above, a man on fire leaps from a window into the mob. Other people are ablaze. The man next to me is screaming, pushing on my chest with both palms. I manage to turn around. My face is smashed against the display window of a clothing store. Through the glass, the reclining bikini-clad mannequin stares back at me quizzically. The reflection of flames in the window advances. I feel the sole of a shoe planted square in my back. My nose is flat against the glass. I'm pressed so hard my lungs become vacant. I feel like I'm going to pass out. The store window explodes into the display case, and I fall into the arms of the mannequin in a shower of glass. A babe in the lap of the Madonna. She comforts me, and I can breathe again. Beyond the window frame, all is ablaze. People rush by me into the building to escape the flames, and I scramble after them through a maze of hallways until I find myself out on the street. I run until I can't run anymore. Bent over, with my palms on my knees, sides aching and chest heaving, I get a call from Dad. The bedraggled old man in a mud-stained terry cloth robe looks lost on the street corner where he's standing. His erstwhile paramour, Marzipan, is a body length away with her back turned. I ask him, "They let you go?" "Yeah, it was the darndest thing. One minute we were headed down to the beach to work on our tan. Then this car pulls up and guys in ski masks shove my head into a sack, toss me in the trunk, and the next thing I know, here we are, and it's raining like hell." I ask, "What did they say?" "Just that they wouldn't be needing my services anymore, and something about there's a presidential citation in the mail. I wish somebody would tell me what's going on. Hold on, Vinny. I got to take a call from your mom." "What?" he says to her. No, I'm not just standing here doing nothing. I'm talking to Vinny. No, it's just that... The old man shifts his weight from foot to foot as he listens to her, trying to get a word in edgewise. Well, yes, of course. No, I don't recall. I can't tell you. Really, hon? I couldn't say. Marzipan watches with contempt as the old guy is beaten down by the verbal assault of his wife. No, I don't actually know where I am. He removes his sunglasses and squints into the rain. No, I don't see any street signs. I can't tell you why there aren't any street signs on this corner. Well, yes, I know there should be street signs on the corner. No, I can't give you one good reason why there aren't any street signs on this particular corner. Yes, I realize I look ridiculous standing like this in the rain. Well, maybe you're right. Maybe it is all my own fault. But Hello? He looks around confused, wiping the water from his eyes. Vinny? Are you there? She hung up on me. What am I supposed to do? My father is pathetic. If his face wasn't already wet from the downpour, I'd say he was crying. Vinny? I don't know where I am. Stay where you are, I tell him. I'll find you. Following the path shown on InVision, I walk the zigzag blocks with trepidation and pull up short when I see the pair of them half a block away. There they are, the same old, all over again. Mom standing on the curb, glowering down at him. Dad sitting with his feet in the gutter. I hide behind a tree and listen on InVision. Mom says, So you actually thought she'd stick around, did you? Well, whatever she was doing that made you so darn happy, just what was she doing anyway? You better tell me. Because we're not moving 1 inch until you tell me. He doesn't answer and she continues. Well, I can only imagine. But tell me, whatever she was doing, do you actually think that that X'd out little bimbo couldn't find someone richer, smarter, and less pitiful than you to do it to? Answer me. I'm talking to you, you old fool. Unable to watch this any longer, I mute their conversation and walk away. I'm sitting on a park bench watching pigeons peck at one another in the puddles. There's Dad calling me again. I don't answer. Let him leave a message. He sounds desperate. Vinny? I guess something important must have come up, huh? So, I hope... Anyway, we're still here waiting, and whenever you can get here, so come soon. Okay? It's getting dark as I head toward the waterfront. I stop and ask myself why I keep going back there. It's only looking for trouble. But somehow, the open water helps me think. A scroungy guy in a trench coat stops me and asks if I need cash. Sure, I tell him. He pulls a wad of chump change from his pocket and says, Bucks for blood. Any kind of blood. No questions asked. I tell him, yes, I have blood to sell. He looks at me closely, shakes his head and tells me I'm a dud. I tell him, you said anybody. Sure, any person. I tell him, I am a person, but it's no go. Walking along the flood channel at its junction with the river, I get a call from Dad. On InVision, I see him sitting cross-legged on the curb, Mom leaning over him with her hands on her hips. He's leaving me another message. Still here, Vinny. Hey, I don't know if you know it, but Marzipan and I, well, it didn't quite work out for us. So your mom and I, well, we were thinking... I break in on him. You and Mom? Yeah, I know she's done some things, But then I have too. Haven't we all? You know, sometimes in life you have to put the past behind you. So, Vinny, I was hoping, that is, your mom and I, well, we were hoping you could, since they kind of just plopped me right down here in the middle of nowhere with nothing but this robe to my name, I called Sis, but she said that our room at the motel is rented now since we hadn't been there for a while. And Sis, by the way, Sis said to be sure to tell you good luck. So, anyway, I don't know what you can do for us, Vin, but anyway, we're right here on this street corner waiting for you, and it's pretty bleak. And, hello, Vinny, are you there? I'm here. Boy, for a moment I was afraid about the connection. Vin, you're always numero uno in my book, my main man. Isn't that right, Vin? I can't help you anymore, Dad. But we're still buds, right, Vin? I can't help you. Best friends? Dad, I can't anymore. True to the end? I have nothing more to give you. I always thought, that I could count on you. I tell him, I'm sorry, Dad. I really am. And I click him off. I steady myself on the handrail above the storm-swollen flood channel. Looking back in the direction I came from, a bounty hunter is coming up fast. 50 yards ahead of me is a bridge across the channel. I make a break for it. On the bridge, I stop dead in the middle as another blood tracker blocks my escape. The water beyond the rail is swift and dark. My pursuers close in on both sides. 30 mechanical fingers reach out for me. I take a deep breath and leap. The underwater swirl of bubbles is green in my night vision. I break the surface. The head and torso of a cyborg bobs in the waves at my side. She takes me in her arms and lifts me higher, as though to save me. The rain-fed flow sweeps the pair of us out of the channel into the river. Held fast, I see my captor slowly sinking. Chest, neck cables, fleshy mouth and nose, until finally her blinking insect eyes go under. Held fast in the monster's grip, I take my last breath and go down with the sinking she-beast. It's clear that struggling is useless as we settle into the cushion-soft mud bottom. A flurry of bubbles escape her bionic mouth, the gurgle of a cry. Help me! With my lungs exploding in my chest, I wonder, was it she or I that said that? Then the flash of a short behind the insect eyes, an explosion of inky bubbles, and she settles into death. Losing consciousness now, I look at her polished nails dug into my forearm and marvel at the fine trail of bubbles escaping from her full flesh lips. Miracle! Her vice grip relaxes. I kick off the bottom and break the surface. Air! I suck in air! Up on the bridge, the other one is watching as I swim for the farther muddy shore. River gunk runs from my pant legs into my shoes as I make my way toward the city. I call Dudmeat. He appears with his back turned, and I know it's time for damage control. I tell him, look, I'm sorry I undervalued you, and I'm truly grateful for all the times you saved me. I realize I insulted you asking you to do grunt work. I was insensitive to your feelings about all the repression you've suffered. Believe me, I'm learning firsthand what repression is all about, and I truly am sorry. But listen, these beasts are going to track me down, rip off my skin, and bleed me dry. What are they? Can you tell me? He remains unmoved. For God's sake, have pity. I'm begging you. He says, if there's anything I can't stand, it's a whiner. Never mind. About the bounty hunters. The ones chasing you are just the tip of the iceberg. Part of an army of experimental cyborgs surplus from the war on evilism. The concept for the design was simple. Give one a whiff of evil and let the pack run it to ground. But there were way too many false positives, because, as far as the droids could tell, everyone was an evilist, and the government was looking at massive collateral damage. The program got canceled, but with so much time and money down the drain and this monster inventory on their hands, they had to try to recoup. I ask, what does that have to do with me? Well, they sold them as war surplus to the banks for the war on deadbeats. I don't know what to do. From what I can see, you're doing pretty well, whittling them down. Bounty hunters come in 4-packs, fee, fi, fo, fum. It seems like you've knocked out 2 of them already. Which 2? No matter. Fee, fi, fo, fum, fo, fi, fee, they're all the same. You killed 2 and that's half. So cross off fee and fi. I say, well, they may be great bloodhounds, but they don't seem too smart. Dudmeat says, maybe not like you'd think, but they have a killer feminine instinct. Don't underestimate it. And by the way, you look like you just crawled out of a sewer. You better go home and get yourself cleaned up. I tell him, I'm done with Motel 6. I'm going to try my luck in the flea market. Inside what so recently was the flea market, the changes are incredible. In fact, it's not a flea market at all anymore. They've renamed it El Mercado. The aisles, so recently crowded with recyclers picking over piles of dented fenders, have been replaced with avenues lined with strip malls and car dealers. People I pass on the sidewalk move aside as they size me up by my filthy clothes. I wander onto a car lot and look at my reflection in the mirror of an auto SUV. I'll have to do something soon. A helper looks at me askance and asks if he can help me. I tell him, I need protection. The helper says, that's easy. Just say, Guy, the insurance guy, and help is on the way. I say the magic words and Guy leans his head out the window of the SUV. He gives me the once-over and confirms, yeah, you really do need help. And where'd you get that thing on your face? Listen, Guy, you gotta help me. They're trying to kill me. He tells me, sounds like you need a locality protection policy, my friend. Before I can answer, we're distracted by a commotion in the showroom. A terrified woman runs from the door, followed by a bounty hunter, scanning the lot with insect eyes that find me and lock on me. I plead with Guy. I can't pay now, but I need your help. Now! Guy takes my shoulders in his hands and he says, hey, Vinny, this is me you're talking to. Guy, the insurance guy. And here's the good news. Your first payment won't be due till way next spring. Whatever you got, I'll take it. You got it. The doors of the SUV fly open. 8 snarling robot Dobermans leap from the vehicle. 7 circle the interloper, clamping onto its appendages with hydraulic jaws. The 8th hound howls at the streetlight, signaling the others to rip it to shreds. After thanking Guy, I explain, there's at least one more of them after me. My only sure chance for survival is to get out of the country. Guy says, not a problem, and tells me about his expat protection plan that can go into effect just as soon as I cross the border. Yes, I'm thinking out loud. Now, just get to the spaceport, buy the ticket, and once in the suborbital, I'll be home free. But how am I going to pay for it? A pretty dud helper butts in to remind me. Check Gregson bookmark. I almost forgot, and I click it. Blood and skin wanted immediately. No testing necessary. I ask the helper, "Where's that?" "Just go to any flesh and blood center in a Better Barter store." "Where can I find one?" She laughs at my naivete and tells me, "No matter where you are, there's always a Better Barter right across the street." And sure enough, there's the sign for Better Barter, right on my Envision. I enter the Better Barter store, head for the flesh and blood kiosk, and tell the auto tech helper I'm here to sell my flesh and blood. He presents me with a checklist of possible pre-existing conditions, and I put checks by bid poison, acquired skin disease, other diseases. The auto tech asks, "What other diseases?" I try to make a joke. "It looks like I'm a dud as well." He says, "That's obvious by the X on your face, if you're calling that a disease. People sure treat me like I have a disease." Well, being a dud is definitely not a disease. Duds don't have diseases. Only people have diseases. I assure him that I'm a person. That's why I'm here. Cut me and I cry. Stab me and I bleed. The auto tech says, "I'm afraid I can't help you because, aside from being a dud, you're unacceptable on the basis of your bid poison and acquired skin disease." I feel utterly defeated when a second auto tech helper appears and says to the first, "Wait, I don't think we've ever encountered a flesh and blood dud before." The first auto tech examines my dud mark with magnification and confirms the opinion. "He's a dud all right." Tech 2 says, "Yeah, but now that duds can vote, who knows what else they might be good for?" After some discussion, they conclude that I could be interesting. The research thing. "So, Mr. Vanilla, what do you want to sell?" "My skin." "Dud skin?" "Yes. How much will you pay?" "Well, considering all the confusion about skin color and pedigree and so forth and so on, and all the mess in the skin market, with all of your problems, the most I could possibly offer you is, say, 150 a square inch." I do a quick calculation and tell him, "I need 1,500 a square inch." "Surely you're joking. I mean, look at you. You look like you've been swimming in a drainage ditch. Who knows how much ultra cleansing it's going to take before we can even touch your skin." "450 a square inch, max." I counter, 1,100. 6, tops. I point to my face. "See this? It's real dud skin. 900. 700, but only for a test patch of 1 square inch. Okay. 700 a square inch, but for 36 square inches. Number 1 laughs. "You can't sell a 6 by 6 inch piece of your body. Giving up a chunk of skin that size will probably kill you." "Maybe it will, but I've already done it once, so I guess I can do it again." I peel off my muddy shirt and show them the healing skin graft on my back. I tell them, "This is brand new primo prime baby skin. Look at the color." They're impressed. "This really is good skin." "How much are you paying for blood?" I ask. $2.50 a pint. I leverage my advantage. Think of it this way. Considering the research thing and all, my blood alone could be a real bonanza. After all, I have bid poison, acquired skin disease, and I'm a real live dud. Where else are you going to find blood like mine for research? I'll sell you my blood for $2,000 a pint, $6.50, $1,400, $800 max. $1,000 or nothing. $1,000 a pint, or I walk out right now, skin, blood, and all. Number 1 shakes his head and says, "No way." I turn to leave when the second auto tech says, "Sold."